here we go. So welcome everyone to today's Mastermind e-circle, or masterclass as we like to call it. And I'm coming to you from Mirawong Gidjawang country in Kununurra, and we've already spent a couple of minutes doing some introductions, which is great. And so I just want to get straight on with introducing our wonderful speaker today, and hopefully some time at the end for a few questions. And I know Robyn has lots of gold to share with us. And for those of you who are going to be watching the recording, as always, you're welcome to email in your questions, etc. And I'll follow those up by forwarding them to Robyn. So Robyn, welcome to the Maganda Makers Club. And
I'm looking forward to it, Marie.
Thank you for taking up this opportunity. So Robyn Henderson, Natasha and I were introduced to Robyn via another mutual friend or connection a few months ago. And Robyn's speciality, and she'll talk to you a bit more about that, is networking and speaking to grow your business. And Tasha and I just loved the time we spent with her, and we thought, oh, we want her to have time with our club members as well. So yeah, thank you, Robyn, for doing this. And I'll just hand it straight to you, love, to get underway.
Thank you so much, Marie. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today, and welcome to the online ones who will view this later. I just want to recognise, though, that the Kimberly Gigars with the Amplifying Indigenous Women's Voice, Promoting Australian Indigenous Culture and Empowering More Women in Business. I think that's such a wonderful aspiration and mission. And I've in preparation for this, I've avidly read your newsletter and the beautiful magazine, and I'm working my way through the articles, but they're beautifully written and so interesting, really. So you've got a huge network of gifted and talented people. So a little bit about how I got into networking in the first place. There were two steps. I was running a business women's network in the early 90s. I'm originally from Sydney, although I've been on the Gold Coast and Northern Rivers, Bundjalung region for the last 20 plus years. But back in the 90s, living in Sydney, and I was offered the opportunity to run a business women's network. And what I noticed was that the women we'd have a dinner meeting twice a month, and women would just sit with their friends, and no one was talking to each other. And coincidentally, at the same time, I was going to a Toastmasters group to get better at get more confidence. I was in a sales role and not doing very well, and I happened to see a great speaker at one of these breakfasts, and I approached him anyway. He suggested that I improve my speaking skills because I was very rusty back in the 90s. And then he said, you need to write a book about something that you're really passionate about. And I said, well, I've got this women's network and all the women just sit with their friends. They don't talk to anyone. He said, oh, I'll write a book about that. And bless him, he became a mentor, and he has passed away, but he was a lovely, lovely man. And that was the start of writing about networking and basically what I've done over the years with the books I've written. And I'll be sending a link so Marie can send you 3 of the books for ebooks, complimentary, and you might find them useful. But what I've found over the years that networking can open up any door in the world for you. And when we think now in terms of a global market, and certainly a national and statewide market, even allowing for the cost of freight and all of that, we still have people who we can access from all around the world. So in defining networking, I believe that it's based on 3 universal laws. The first one is the law of reciprocity. So what you give out comes back tenfold. So if you're giving away referrals, and we'll talk about some systems I have, how I do that quite easily. But if you're giving away referrals, you'll get back referrals. If you're giving away information, you'll get back information. But it doesn't always come immediately, and it doesn't always come from the same person. So you might be able to help someone who lives in Perth, and indirectly that person will come back and help someone who's living in Kununurra. So it might not always come directly to you, but indirectly the flow on. It's the belief that reciprocity can happen. The law of abundance is the belief system that there's plenty for everyone. So it's not about competing with people, it's about collaborating with people. And it's seeing that there's an abundance of opportunities. And with many of the wonderful products and, whether it was Bush Tucker or the artists or the native products, and I was reading about in the newsletter in the magazine, beautiful handcrafted products. And I thought, wow, there's so many opportunities, and they might not be in your business right now, but again, it's the belief that there's lots of opportunities out there. And the law of giving without expectation. Sometimes people think this one contradicts the other. But to me, giving without expectation is doing something for someone, not to immediately get something back, but because you can help them. And it might be as simple as seeing someone struggling with bags or something when, they're walking down the street or trying to get stuff out of a boot of a car, and stopping to help them. And that might be something that you just do. I think of it as being kind, but you don't expect that person to necessarily turn around and do something for you. So it's again the belief that kindness is just putting things out there and helping people where you can. And just as I was connected to Natasha and Marie, sometimes it's giving someone a phone number, a website, the name of someone that can help them do something. So it's just giving without expectation. And the fourth one is making heart-to-heart connections. And that to me is when I listen with my heart as well as my ears. I'm not looking over my shoulder for someone better to talk to. I'm actually present. I'm in the moment. And you, at this point in time, and I'm delighted that there's only two of us here because, three of us, Marie, with your members, because it's a small group, which is great. We can, really focus on lots of different businesses, but apply them to you, and making that heart-to-heart connection. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes you go to events and someone's talking to you, but they're really distracted and they're sort of looking over your shoulder, and it's like you're invisible. And I hate that, and I think I'll excuse myself. I mean, I'm older and wiser now, and I just sort of go, oh, I'll leave you to it. You're obviously distracted. But it's about respecting people. To me, networking is all about respect. And whoever is talking to me, they're the most important person in the room at that point in time, or on the phone, or whatever it is. So, turning off your phone, being focused, and not trying to do two things at once, because that often just fails. Okay, so when you go to a networking event, and I notice you've got this sundowner coming up on the 12th of August. Now, some people might watch this and that event's already been on, but for those who are planning to go to that, what you actually take are your passions and your special interests. Okay, so that's things that might be totally unrelated to your business, but things that you're very passionate about. So living on the East Coast, I'm passionate about the South Sydney Rugby League, which is probably not relevant at all in Kununurra, but
no,
that's...
you just swore then, Robyn. You need to talk
Oh,
about the All Blacks, or no, that's even worse.
No.
Margie, who do we need to talk about? The Woman Eagles or something? I don't even know. AFL, eh?
Oh, AFL and the Eagles. Yeah.
Margie, you're on mute.
On mute. Yeah. No worries.
Now, Wyndham Crocs, thank you very much.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Margie.
Very good.
Totally insulted you. Yeah, the Wyndham Crops, Robyn, if you can carry on talking using the example of Wyndham Crops.
Wyndham Crocs. Okay, I'll make a note of that. So, and that's the thing, passions and special interests. I'd never watched, and I admit I had never watched a soccer match, male or female, until Monday night when I watched the Matildas win 4-0. Oh, wow, amazing. So that's a new interest for me. But your passions and your special interests, whether it's music, whether it's books, whether it's films, whatever it is, that's you. That's what makes you special, what your favorite place is. And it can be totally unrelated to your business. But your current and your past roles. So you mentioned before changing jobs or leaving that job where you were. So you've still got that experience. So you've still got those contacts, you've got that knowledge, and your current role now is as a small business owner and a small business builder, operator. That's your current role. And also where the three of these connect, this little bit in the middle, that's you. So it's your life experiences, your wisdom, and your networks. So that's what you bring, each of us bring today. And when we think we've got 4 people on the call today, okay, so let's say average we would know 500 people each. That's 2,000 people that we've got access to. So never, ever go to a networking event, the Sundown or any of the other wonderful workshops and things that that you attend. Never think, oh, I've only been in business 5 minutes. Oh, I'm not really good at this yet. Never think like that, because you walk in the room and no one has a sign on their forehead saying, "Be really nice to me. I'm going to introduce you to your next best client," or the person who's going to introduce buy 100 of your candles or your beautiful soaps, or get you to design a beautiful artwork for them. No one has that on their forehead. You've got to just connect with people, focus on that person, and it'll lead on to the next slide. Okay, so oops, today's where have they all gone? Let's go back a bit. a bit quick off the draw there. Okay.
Robyn,
what's happening?
So, Robyn,
go.
More or less, you've got to sell yourself.
But you've got to be yourself. It's not so.
Yeah.
I accept. Yeah, you got to sell yourself, but it's about also just be yourself. Don't think you've got to put on this. I'm at a networking event. I've got to be really fancy. I've got to be this. I've got to be that. You got to be yourself. That's the most important thing. Be yourself. And I often think, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. So you just want to be yourself. Now, I'm just going to go back a bit because we missed an important slide. But thanks for your question. That's great. Now,
it can be. I remember when I first started doing networking events more, when I moved from New Zealand to Australia, and we moved to Adelaide, and I didn't know anyone. And despite contrary belief, I'm actually quite an introvert. So I find it, Karen and Margie are going, yeah, right. I find it quite hard to, go in a room full of people, but I think, okay, what's 1 or 2 people that I can speak to? But what I particularly want to say is it's that whole thing about just being yourself. So I remember this one event I went to, and this woman, she came in the door a bit later, and I just happened to catch her eye as she came in, and she looked really she just looked a bit hesitant, and I said, "Oh, come on in, and it's a bit warmer in here, and let's go and get a cuppa together, and then we'll go and yarn to someone." So just that whole thing of looking outside of yourself to get yourself going, but at the same time just being who you are, which is warm and engaging with people, even if it might just be 1 or 2 to start with.
Absolutely. That's a really good point, Marie, that it is, you could only talk to one person at a time. Yeah. So one of my strategies, and you'll read about these in the ebooks I said, is to look for people who are standing by themselves. And I walk up and I say, "Hi, I'm Robyn. Mind if I join you?" Now, anyone standing by themselves is not going to say no. It's not a nightclub at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is a networking event, So, "Hi, I'm Robyn. Mind if I join you?" And then, "Oh, hi." And just be friendly. Just be friendly. So this slide here says, before you leave for the event, ask yourself, why am I going? What am I trying to achieve? And how am I going to do that? So why I'm going? Well, I want to let people know about my business, about my new designs, my new products. What am I trying to achieve? Well, if I walk away and I've had what I call a quality conversation. Now, quality isn't meeting someone that might be in Kununurra on other business, but they've got connections with a store in or a retail outlet or chain or something based in Perth or Adelaide. I'm not wanting to think, oh, wow, they're my prospect of the year. I just want to have a conversation with them, let them know what I do, and let them know. And if I still use business cards. I know that a lot of people don't, but I'm a DAG. Because I want to make it easy for people to make contact with me. And so I find them a really I'm just reaching for one now, a really inexpensive way of making it easy. Because if I say to someone I'll follow up with them, that I've got to be sure that they keep my details. But anyway, what am I trying to achieve and how am I going to do that? So when I go to a networking event, I want to arrive early and leave late. And so if your event's starting at 4 o'clock, so I'd get there at 4 o'clock, because some people might wander in a bit later, but I want to get there on time. And when you're early, there's less people in the room. So if you are a bit on the shy side, you're not as nervous. And then leaving late means that you've experienced this event and there might have been a speaker, there might have been special announcements, there might have been an exhibition of some sort. If I just walk in and go, oh, no one's here, I'm going to go. But if I walk in there, some of the best contacts I've made have been nights where, the chef walked out and there was an electricity blackout and all sorts of terrible things happened on the night. But it was a great night because we looked at each other and went, oh my, what are we going to do? Oh, well, we can always get meal on the way home. I'm sure they'll give us a refund, for what we paid, etc. So, just be clear on the why, the what, and the how. And then the three P's of attending networking event: preparation. So preparation, proactive attendance, and professional follow-up. Now, what I mean by preparation is, and this also applies when we get into the speaking engagements, preparation for me was to sit down last night and read a number of articles in your beautiful magazine, your newsletter. I got in about, your time 7:30 and went through the website and refreshed my mind on what I'd looked at before, but just to be sure, because to me that's respect for my audience, and it's also about being professional. Preparation with going to a networking event might be, if you choose to use business cards, if you've got a sample of your products. I appreciate not all of you may have that, but it may be a brochure, a link. You don't want to meet someone and they say, oh, I do, beautiful artwork. And they go, oh, can you show me something? Not necessarily to pull out a canvas, but like a postcard or something that they can go, oh, I see, oh, that's beautiful, I'll follow up. So preparation, and part of preparation for me, and this might sound a bit daggy too, but I have admitted to being a bit of a dag.
Robyn,
preparation for me.
Sorry, I was just going to pause there for a moment. I love that postcard idea as it relates to it's something artists could do. So Margie's a sculptor and she does incredible sculptures, but in her business she's looking at doing customized headstones. So Margie, something you could do once you've got a few samples is to have a postcard with the photos on it, so you can show people. That just came to mind. I just needed to get it out. Sorry to interrupt, Robyn.
Oh, no, it's great. And like a postcard might be sort of twice the size of this, and someplace like Vistaprint, very cheap on getting a postcard done, and you might get 50 done, 100. It's quite inexpensive to get that done. But yeah, postcards are great. It might be a brochure. It depends what your product is. But if it was something smelly like soap or candles, I would have that with me because I'd want people to smell. If it was bush tucker, it might be, or the plums, it might be like, oh, here's a little sample. And it might, you could put it in a little press seal bag. But yeah, just so you are prepared. That's basically the point. In terms of conversation, if you sort of shadowed me around any of the networking events I go to, my opening is always, tell me about. So I'd say, oh, Margie, tell me about the sculptures that you do. So that's giving you permission to tell me about. And I pay the person the compliment of listening. So I'm actively listening, and I'm asking questions. So, but tell me about, that's how I start most things. And to walk up to someone standing by themselves, and if there's no one standing by them, and say, hi, I'm Robyn, mind if I join you? I don't have to go, I'm Robyn Henderson, I've written books. They couldn't care less. They're just grateful that someone has come up out of the blue and said, hi, how you going? So proactive attendance is exactly that. Some places provide name tags, others don't. I've always got a little name tag that I just have in my bag, and I'd make it easy for someone to remember my name, even if it's just Robyn. Or again, that's an opportunity for you to promote your business because you can have the name of your business, or and that's like a, oh, you can get them online, quite again, a Vistaprint or a Officeworks type thing for proactive attendance. I want to make sure that I acknowledge who the host is, and look, if it won't be a terrible event, of course your sundown will be brilliant, but sometimes you go to ones that aren't great. But I always appreciate, well, if it's not great, that's just your opinion, and these people have gone to a lot of work to put it together. So I always go to the host and just acknowledge as a courtesy, again, respect. Thank you very much for putting this on today. It's a shame the music or the sound system, whatever it was, let you down, but boy, what a great event. It's wonderful to bring so many people together. It's just a courtesy. So that to me is all part of proactive attendance. And then professional follow-up. Marie is, as you all know, very organized, very, very good with follow-up. And that to me makes it easy for people to do business with you. And that, I think, is really one of the keys to growing a small business. You've got to make it easy for people to say yes. So if I've got the postcard from Margie with the sculptures, and I go, oh, gee, okay. People always want to know what price. Well, I guess that depending on what it is, how much of the candles. Well, that depends on the quantities, how much of the, how much of the. So, yes, you've got a website. Yes, happy to have a conversation. And you never let distance be the thing. And particularly with Zoom today, very inexpensive to have a Zoom call and to bring things to life with the person. But it's up to you to follow up. Now, I don't take it personally. As I say, Marie was excellent when we connected. I think you followed up immediately and booked me for this one. And then we had to slightly change the date because I'd made a mistake with the times. But yeah, very, very professional follow-up. And I appreciate that because when people are busy, and often the people that you're wanting that can order lots of products and services from you, they're busy. So if you can make it easy for them to say yes, that's a very easy way to grow your business. All right. So just in terms of aim for referrals and know the difference. So a tip, a lead, and a referral. Okay. So if I was wanting to refer a speaking engagement to Natasha, okay, which I haven't as yet done yet, but I am always on the lookout for things that she might enjoy speaking at. So a tip is, Natasha, there's I saw they're having a big conference in Cairns in June. It's at the Ridges Cairns Hotel. Well, that's a tip. That's pretty useless. Yeah, I've given her the venue. I've given her the location. No, it's a bit vague. And she's got to do all the work to find out who that is. A lead could be, next June, there's an innovation festival that's being held in Cairns. They ran the first one this year. The next one's in, I believe, June of next year. And they're holding it at XYZ Hotel. I think you'd be a good speaker at that. That's a lead. So it's more information. It's helpful, but it's not a referral. A referral is next June in Cairns, there's an innovation festival. They had the first one this year. They're repeating it next year. It goes for a week. It's very entrepreneurial. I think you'd be great to speak about the work that you do and the Mugandar makers and all that you're doing up there and the whole East Kimberley businesses and things. My contact there is Mary Smith. I'll connect you via email, or alternately, here's her phone number. Would you give her a call? Just mention me in it, in your phone call, but she's expecting your call. Now, that's a referral. That is the person, the phone number, or the email address. That's what you want. You really want to see that referral. See, to me, referrals are like a figure 8. If I just go, Robyn refers Natasha to Sue, that to me is like a figure S. I don't know what happens. But so Robyn refers Natasha to Sue, then I would love Sue to come back and go, oh, thanks for referring Natasha, and let me know how it goes, or she wasn't available on the date, or it wasn't quite a fit, but thanks, I'll keep her in mind for something else. Whatever that is, you want to get, when someone gives you a referral, you want to be sure to give them feedback. That was perfect. Thank you so much, Margie. That's a perfect person for me. I'm really grateful. Let me know how I can help you. So the clearer you are on what you're looking for. So Margie might be looking for people who are wanting to spend $1,000 on a sculpture, or she might be looking, and not one or the other, and she might be looking for a corporate client who says, well, we've got national offices. Wouldn't it be amazing if you did this sculpture and we got 5 similar things and put them around the 5 states we're in? So the clearer you are on what you can do, I guess. Okay, so here's some tips before we go on to the speaking things. Some action tips. Attend or create one networking event or opportunity every week. Now, that could be back when I first moved up the coast and I was not living in Sydney and not running into all these people I used to run into at networking events. I thought, well, how am I going to keep my network active? So this is way before COVID, way before Zoom had the capacity it's got now. And I used to say, oh, let's have a telecoffee. And a telecoffee was, I'm going to phone you at 10 o'clock on Monday. Let's just shoot the breeze for 15 minutes. And that would be what it was. Now, that telecoffee is now expanded into a Zoom, because pretty much if you're going to have, well, sometimes it's still a phone call. If I'm driving, I've got a hands-free thing. I can drive and speak, and I do a lot of calls that way. But I want to actually set up an opportunity where I'm rebuilding. So I see that networking is like we build a bridge of trust, and we start off as strangers, we move to advocates, then we move to friends. Now, I'm not saying that every person that you meet will become your best friend. I'm not saying that at all. But you become a person in their network. So there's this bridge happening. And then if I have full intentions of referring speaking engagements to Natasha, but when I do that, it's like, oh, okay, she's done a great job. That's fabulous. I feel really confident doing that. So it's like customers buy once, clients buy twice, and advocates do your selling for you. So when you start to build reliability and credibility, you'll get a lot of opportunities with your business and with others, okay? Because it's all about collaboration and working together. And by the look of it, you're already really establishing that, Marie. That's quite an established belief, and a practice within the, a Mugandar makers, so that's fantastic. So attend or create a networking event or opportunity. Give away one referral every week, and that takes discipline, because you might, those that are listening online, you might think, oh, well, I don't know that I can give a referral this week. But you get into the practice of thinking, just when you're in conversation, think, oh, this might be useful. Why don't you make contact with this person? Or you might find this website useful. Or you just get used to connecting people. Always follow up, which I talked about here. You want to make it easy for people to say yes. That's basically it. Say, yes, I want to buy this product. Yes, I want to book you. Yes, I want that service. Yes, I want a sculptor. Yes, I want, Christmas. I want to give a candle to all my staff for Christmas. Yes, I want all that soap. We'll have it in the chain of hotels. Yes, I want that. And keep in touch without being pushy. Again, with social media and texting, and we'll touch a couple of those in the second half. But it's never been easier to keep in touch with people. And believe it or not, I still send cards, handwritten cards, to people in my network. And I just thank you for this. I appreciate that, whatever it is, because no one does it. And when we rarely get letters in the mail. So when you get it and it's it's like, oh, wow, thank you. So it's doing things for others that they're not expecting. Okay, so look, I've turned the phone off, so I have no idea what the time is, Marie. But how am I going for time?
You're at 9:05, so we've got about, say, 15-ish minutes, and then that
okay,
leaves
so
5 or so minutes for a bit of Q&A. But just really loving your practical tips that are
good. Thank you.
Doable. So thoroughly enjoying what you're sharing with us. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just got to care. That's it. It's it's important. So creating speaking engagements, and in small business, and whether it's that you nominate yourself for an award or someone else nominates you, it's what are you passionate about? Because I am passionate about networking. I'm passionate about writing books. I'm passionate about lots of different things. But who's your whatever you're passionate about, who's your target audience? And I think we make the mistake of going everyone, but it's really not everyone that could care. It's possibly there might be parents, they might be school children, they might be they might be retailers, they might be individual users, they might be based all around the world, but who's your target? So that there's lots, and I know you've got that marketing. You're very good on the marketing breakdown I've seen on the website with the 6. It's not pillars. It's anyway. You're very good at marketing, so you've probably identified your target audience, but very important as a speaker. Yeah, thank you. Stones. Yeah, I was sorry. What are your topics? What are you really passionate about? Now, when obviously I've been speaking about networking since the early 90s. And then when I started writing about or speaking about book writing, one person said, oh, you're going to lose your credibility. And I said, why would I? Like, I know how to do 2 things. Like and I might have another 10 things, but it's what is relevant. And so I'm thinking, Margie, with you, Karen, I'm not sure what your business is. What's your business, Karen?
My business is anything. So I'm a freelancer for the Maganda makers.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So thank you for that. So your topic could be innovation and entrepreneurship, really about how to Margie, yours might be unlocking your creativity. So you do it via your sculpting, and I'm sure you do other creative things, but you're looking at what would people want to know. And I think what I've tried to do today is make it like 3 things. Here's some tips. Make a point, tell a story, make a point, tell a story. That's really how you create a presentation. And of course, respect. There's nowhere in the world, like I was practicing saying GGARS like 45 times so I would say it right. I said it. So that's respect for your audience, in my world. Who needs to hear your message? Who cares about what you care about? Who else is an expert in your field? So who's your competitor? And not seeing them as competitors, actually seeing them as allies. So you collaborate them. And where are your target audiences located? And the joy of Zoom and technology today is that you can be anywhere in the world. They can be anywhere in the world. You can be on any time zone you like. Okay, so ways to create speaking opportunities. And you're already ahead of the curve with many of the things through the beautiful Kimberly Shiros and your podcasts and the wonderful things that you're doing. So writing articles or blogs for your target audience, that's a way. And it might be, if you're thinking, oh, gee, not real keen on writing, then speak it out. A way that one of the ways I work with authors is to get them to, we have a Zoom, we record it, and then I get that transcribed. So we have a conversation about that. So if you're not, or you feel at this point in time you're not a confident writer, or alternately, you engage someone that will write it for you, but it's in your head, so you want to give them the information. But voice record and transcription works really well. So writing articles or blogs for your target audience. Look for podcast opportunities. You've got the new podcast, which is fabulous. And again, sometimes people are afraid to give away information. Oh, if I give them all this information, then I'll never see them again. Just give them the information, because what you're doing is building your credibility. Don't insult your audience ever by withholding information. To me, it's like, answer what I can, and if I don't know the answer, oh, well, look, I'll get back to you and I'll find the person who will know that answer. So never withhold, thinking that, oh, I won't do this until this point in time. Always be generous with your information. Use social media, YouTube, Instagram, and particularly Margie, with your images, and I'm assuming for your sculptors and the beautiful artists, and all of the native products lend themselves to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., to share your knowledge. Zoom webinars, and it can be, depending on the setup that you have, it can be that you talk about your, you might do over 30 minutes, you might do 15 minutes talking about the work that you do, and then the other 15 minutes is taking questions, like similar format to here, but we've got like an hour. Panel discussions, you might be invited to be on a panel. And again, preparation, make sure that you're, if they say you've got 5 minutes, okay, make those 5 minutes count. Workshops, conferences, seminars, a presenter or an MC. So there are all ways that you get, because speaking opportunities are the absolute, in my opinion, one of the best marketing opportunities that you can do. And you never worry about numbers. One of my, what's called in the industry, speaking industry, a signature story. This is really going back to when I first started. Really quick story. And there was a bus strike, and there was a bus strike, and I at the time was invited to speak at Penrith, which is like 2 hours from where I live. But I thought, yes, I'm going to do it, and they booked me for a number of these things. Anyway, I ended up, there was a train strike, and I thought, I've got to hire a car. So I went and I hired a rent-a-roughie, what was called a rent-a-roughie. It cost about $50. Anyway, they paid me like $100 for this thing out in the middle of Penrith. I was exhausted. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I picked up the car. I got to the place. I did the presentation, and I arrived, and there were 3 people in the room, 3 people only in the room. And I thought, oh my God, and then I thought, okay, well, Robyn, your mentor said, pretend there's 1,000 in the room. So that's what I did. And before I'd even got home, took the rent the roughie back, dropped the car off, and ended up with, about $20, I think, profit on the day. They'd already rung and said, we want to book you for, and I ended up working with one client out of those 3 for 2 years. 2 years, amazing opportunity. So no one wears a sign again saying, be really nice, I'm going to rebook you, or, create opportunities. But networking is a lot like watching sunrises. If you don't show up, you'll never know what you missed. So, and this was one I saw yesterday. If you want to work with First Nations people, make it meaningful, not just to tick a box. So I feel, in terms of the privilege of speaking to you today, that I don't just want to waste your time. I want it to be useful. I want it to be helpful. So even if you just take away one idea, and I'm also going to send Marie, as well as the PowerPoint, I'm going to send her an electronic copy of How to Master Networking, Networking Magic, and actually, it's a different one I haven't got in front of me. Dare to Dream. It's actually, I've got another one called Strategic Networking. Sorry, I've held up the wrong books. They're over the other side. I won't run across to get them. But yeah, I'll send 4. Okay, 4 books. And you're welcome to share them. You might not want to sit and read a whole book, but just read the chapters, and then just go to the chapter that you think will be useful. My details are there, robyn@networkingtowin.com.au and networkingtowin.com.au. My website is out of date. I probably just use LinkedIn and word of mouth a bit more for marketing these days. But I love what I do. Okay, Marie, that's officially the end of the PowerPoint. What have I got there? Right. Okay.
Just such wonderful practical tips. So Margie, have you got 1 or 2 questions that you would like to ask out of something that Robyn shared, relating particularly to your business or in general?
Well, yeah, just left the Shire, which I was the leading hand for 4.5 years. So I was the boss of maintaining this town. And now going out, and my goal is to make affordable headstones to give to country women and men out there without headstones.
Beautiful.
And whilst on that job, I was the grave digger and things like that. So, seeing my country people, we put them in the ground, and they don't have a headstone. So that is sort of where I want to go. And now that my wife and I own the post office,
good.
So we just started and just got the business. So like, how do I? And at the moment, I'm just in the process of wanting to educate people, my people, on recycling.
Great.
So that's
okay.
collecting cans. So
All right.
that's first. Yeah.
Good. So if I may, I'd suggest that you get maybe, I don't think this would breach any post office rules, that like a little cork board, or it might be, depending on the size that you've got, but it might be like an A3 cork board, or even, whatever you've got. And you put up your postcard or your business card. So and you've got some little pins there, so they can, what you're wanting them to do is let the local community promote their businesses on your notice board. So it's like a little notice board. Everyone can put their business cards. Someone might hand paint some of and if they haven't got some, you might provide some blank. We used to do it with business networking events years ago. So it's something that's very non-invasive. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But you've got business cards, and then you can have a little sign that says, if you're interested, take one. So they can take that business card if they're going to follow up that person. Yeah. So that would be one. Would that be acceptable in the post office, do you think?
We've already got it.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, every local advertises their interest,
Their business.
or their
Okay.
projects, up and coming projects, funeral
Yeah.
notices, etc., etc.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, it's such a small community. It's and it's
Yes.
such close knit, and
Close knit. Yeah.
yeah, so word
So,
of mouth.
yeah,
Yeah.
Margie, you said you're that passion around so you've got your product like your affordable headstones, but then your passion also around educating around recycling. So
Yeah,
that recycling is what you could do I mean,
like
something
now.
like doing a 1 hour workshop, at 4 o'clock in an
Mm,
Yeah.
afternoon or something, and have a bit of a barbecue with it,
yeah,
or some
Yeah.
afternoon nibbles, and you do sort of 15, 20 minutes giving some practical tips like Robyn's done today. But
yeah,
then it's also an opportunity at the end of that session just for the community to network and catch up on each other, and you might get to have some individual conversation around, what you
yeah.
do with your headstones. But just as
Yes.
equally, I think talking around about your headstones is a good idea too, because I remember when we've had a few conversations together,
Yes,
you explained to me what you think about when you come to do a headstone, and but I mean, I didn't know anything about that, so I was very interested when you were telling me, the image or the words or whatever it might be. So that in itself is quite an educative
Yeah.
piece, and it could get people learning about what you do.
mm.
Yes.
And that's always been my goal, is to be an educator. So
Yes, that's
Mm.
right.
it's through the experience now that I do have,
Yep.
which I didn't have a problem leaving the job I was in,
Yeah.
Yes.
because what I have built over the years, I also do cross-cultural talks. I was a tour guide for the Bungle Bungle guided tours. Started that up.
Wow.
So in speaking is no problem.
Yeah. And you've
And
got quite a
getting it,
presence.
yeah.
Yeah, so
You've got a
on
Oh,
very
your
thank you.
business card, like on your affordable tombstones business card, that could be on one side, and on the other
Yeah,
side, you can just you can call yourself something like an educator and an advocate, and that's where you can put, your recycling,
mm,
your
yeah.
cross-cultural knowledge, etc. And the way that you could begin to step that out is just, putting on 1 hour sessions. I find with anything when you start out, whether it's a Zoom or a workshop or a speaking gig, like give yourself a goal of the 1 hour, because you think, right,
yeah,
if this
Yes.
all goes to custard, I just
It's
get
okay.
myself through 1 hour,
Yeah.
and then you can
Yeah.
regroup. But it's a bit like when we've tried our yarning circles, which we've done in Perth, and I'll get Karen to talk about those soon. But we just put that on for an hour until 3 women came,
Yeah.
and we thought, well, it will be finished within an hour. But Karen, it lasted 4 hours, didn't it? That first one
Yeah.
in Perth.
Mm.
Not surprised.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And I think because when we get together, it takes about half an hour for everybody to kind of get used to
Warm up.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then once you do, you're away laughing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone had so much to share, and it was a very, and I'll use Marie's word, it was a very organic meet.
Yes.
So there were no expectations, no expectations. If you wanted to
Yeah.
share, you share, but it was just a natural thing that everybody shared. Firstly, their
Yes.
story,
But
their
you
personal
Yes.
asked the
journey.
women to bring along their samples. Do you think, because that was
Yes,
one of the points I see that Robyn gave today about, have some samples on you. So did you think that helped the process?
yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It kind of, I think when everybody sees the fruits of your labor and what you
Yes.
put into it,
Yes.
it just adds value to the story.
Definitely.
And then,
Definitely.
and so I'm all
Yeah.
about stories. I'm all about people telling me their story about what led them to their product. And
Yeah.
and it's amazing. And then you see what they've done with that story and what they've created. And so
Yes.
it just made everybody, it just bonded everybody to,
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So,
And they recognize the passion in each other.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Margie, I was just thinking of something that you might be able to do on the recycling, because often someone is recycling. It might be clothes, it could be something that they no longer need. It might be that, say, you nominate the first and third Thursday afternoon of the month, and that's another little sign they've got that people bring whatever they want to recycle. So it may be that it's literally recycled, paper containers, all sorts of different things. But it might be that you're giving someone permission to come and go, look, my kids have grown out of these games. You might like them. You've got young children coming through. Here's books that I've read. I don't need them anymore. You might like them. So it's not to create another big headache for you, but to say, because I find, and this might sound strange, but the lovely painting that I have here, I found that when I was trying to going through, doing a decluttering, taking things to the local charity, and they said, no, we don't need any of that. We got enough, and I took bags of clothes that were all in good order, but I took them to Darwin to my mates up there and said to one of the ladies, said, look, would you be kind enough to just share these with your network? And she went to the communities and shared them out, and she said, we're so grateful, we never get things like that, and again, to me, I felt good for doing it. And that's the whole thing, I think, with being joyful and being kind, that there's the flow-on effect is that you feel good, and that was, she said, oh, this is our community, we want to do this. So yeah, I think that the recycling thing has got lots of legs, as Marie would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Karen, I'm sure. Lots of
Yeah.
legs, lots of potential. Yeah.
Yeah, it has. But I like that idea, Margie, of you adding, educator and advocate to the aspects of, what you do. And that enables you to also do that passion. Because I'm very multi-passionate myself and have, various business ventures. But what I have observed up here in the Kimberley, Robyn, is a lot of us women are that way inclined. And so, and also because of wet and dry season, access to different supplies, infrastructure, etc. So we really have to, do the
Reinvent.
multi,
Yeah.
as opposed
Multiple
to
things.
focus on one thing. And so within the Kimberley, we understand that, and I just get excited when I talk to someone like Margie, who not only tells me affordable gravestones, but I'm interested in like, I get that and I understand it. But when we go to market our products and services outside of the Kimberley, sometimes it can confuse people. They're like, well, exactly what do you do? So the multi-passionate side is a point of difference, but in marketing it, that can be a challenge that we work on, together.
Yeah, so I think the if you're going out of the region, then it's looking at let's just, for instance, say the candle ladies. You might actually create 5 products.
Yeah.
To avoid confusion, you want to make it simple when you go out. So just go with the candles.
Yes.
And then the other products or the bush tucker. Let's go with the plums. You've got another 5 things.
Just
it's
going
okay.
with the one, eh?
Go with the one.
We've got a,
so that you get known as, now, please don't, Margie, be offended, but you get known as the headstone lady. And that's what you want, because you want them to think of the product and think of you.
Yeah.
So the networking lady, oh, okay, yeah. And I was proud to be the networking lady, because that's what I did. Even when I started to diversify as I got older and didn't want to do all the traveling and hotel rooms and stuff, but at the time, it was very important to just build that. You can always, once you've got your credibility, you can offer additional things, but you've got to not make it too hard, or give people too many choices initially.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They
Karen,
just
perhaps we'll just finish with one question from you. Is there a question that you'd like to bring from just when you've yarned with the ladies about networking, something they find particularly hard, or a question that you'd like to ask Robyn out of what she shared?
I'm going to ask a question. You just answered it actually, which was about the products and the because that's a conversation we just had on Monday with two of our ladies.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was about because there's so much, it's almost too much. But so I had a little bit of a discussion, and I was going to ask you about that, and you've just answered it in your last year.
Oh, that's
just
good.
to concentrate on a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, just make it easy. And you could, once you establish, it's a bit like, well, you know, we're dealing with the best marketers in the world with all the various people that we buy online from. You know, we buy one thing and then they'll, even if you buy books from Booktopia, they'll offer you one and they'll say, would you like this? Would you like that? Amazon, would you like this? Would you like that? You know, once they know what you like, then they can offer more, you know. In terms of the see, I think that whole headstone business you could expand that, because if you've got the skill to do that, you can expand that to be, it might be recognizing elders as individuals. It might be 60th birthdays, 70th birthdays, 50th birthdays, all those sorts of, so you've got almost a commemorative plaque, not just a headstone. So I see headstone as being much broader, or an awards thing that it could be. Yeah, there's lots of things. You've got that gift. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Do you have one other question that's just come to mind? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
In your opinion, do you think like cold calling, face-to-face stuff is more prominent, or it's more useful than doing everything online and sending out emails? Do you think that's still a thing?
Oh, nothing beats a real person, yeah. And that's why going to a networking event or a social event, or even going to the post office where you're dealing with real people, that is way better than just endless emails, because the delete button takes 2 seconds. Yeah. So I think there is it depends on the product.
Yeah.
There is a place definitely for social media, for Instagram, for anything that's visual, definitely Instagram, Facebook. For me, I like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to a networking event. Facebook is going to the pub. You know, it's a different market. But I think nothing beats meeting someone and making the effort. And one person can open a whole community to you, you know, when you respect and you build trust. So I think it's a combination of both. With respect, Karen, I don't think, much in order to say my website's out of date, I'm not putting a lot of energy or resource into fixing it, because that's not necessarily where my energy is today. But I still love what I do, you know. So it's also depends on your resources, like how much you're going to put into something. You can spend $1,000 on a social media campaign and get not one sale. So, you know, you've got to be, I think you've got to cut your cloth to suit your measure. You know, it's like, okay, if I'm going to test one thing, see how it goes, measure it. And then, but I think having someone talk about their product, and that's why I said, Margie, you've got a real presence. For you to do some little YouTube clips, you know, and then, or not really into TikTok, but whatever it's called, but not really into it. But depending, when people, and that's what I notice, you know, with your magazine and your newsletter, people are passionate about what they do, and that passion comes through. So using sending a little link, it doesn't have to be like a 5-minute, this is why I, you know, write books about blah blah. It can just be a 1 minute, this is why I'm passionate about headstones. I think that recognizing someone's life, and, you know, we haven't had the discussion for me to, you know, use your words, but you know, just a little 1 minute, and that link is what is sent around. I think that's where social media is really effective. You know, just talking about your own, because this comes to life. I'll send the books, you'll go, oh yeah, Robyn, okay, but you probably will never read them, but that's okay. I send them anyway, because even if one person reads them, but I think it's when people come to life, when you hear their voice, see their face, and talk.
Yeah, that's right. Margie, did you have another question or point before? Like that was just before Karen's. It was after Robyn had said about commemoration or memorial type things for parties or award. Was there something you were going to say, love?
It was just I want to base it around because of the stolen generation. You know,
Yes.
families are getting lost, so making it culturally appropriate within sharing who that person was and who that person was related to, and skin name,
Beautiful.
Aboriginal name. You know, we've
Beautiful.
got all these other complex things within our culture and how we live it, and I want to share that, but with, of course, the
So you might
permission
need a
of the
website to do
families.
that. You
Yeah,
might need
well,
a website.
I'm working with Karen at the moment, and
Great.
actually told Karen that I was going to touch base with Marie sometime.
Yeah.
Now that I have finished, but yeah, it's just bringing something
Because
back to the
yeah,
families.
that opens up to the whole of Australia. That you could be, wow, that's a big business. Now you've actually explained that. I had a whole different image, but
Yeah,
that
no,
is
it's
beautiful, beautiful.
And Margaret's
it's
work, and Margie's
definitely
work is beautiful. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Robyn, again for joining us, for sharing your wisdom, your experience, your tips. And it's just been lovely to spend time with you. Our number's small today, but I know there'll be a few online.
I never worry about
listen,
numbers.
And
No. Yeah.
just really appreciate everything that you've done for us today.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, ladies. So thank you so much, and love to keep in touch with you. So let's know how you go. And if you want to send me anything, Margie, about that, I'd love to. I'm back up in Darwin in a few weeks, and I'd love to let people know that that service is available, because we do have culture and heritage advisors, and sorry business is an ongoing thing. So it would be great to just know that that service was available with someone as gifted as yourself. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Great networking.
Thank you,
Great
Robyn.
networking.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All the best,
All right.
ladies.
Thank you, guys,
Bye-bye.
ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.